peoples.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and do this. Welcome to the TOR Hangout, community-run Google Plus Hangout for Star Wars: The Old Republic. I have no idea how I'm coming through tonight because there's not anybody in the room right now because everybody's playing TOR, except for us. So, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. Now, it used to be left to right because we've had to use the Google Hangout normal, but we're doing with extras because it worked tonight, so we're going to go from the top. And so introduce yourself, and then tell us how much sleep you got this weekend between Thanksgiving and TOR.
Well, I guess I would be the top then. I am Anthony, currently from South Carolina, and the sleep issue wasn't that big on Thanksgiving, but kind of started to lose more as the weekend went on up until Sunday night. Then I had to actually try to get up for work at 4 this morning.
Awesome.
Good story.
All right. Well, I'm Brad from Ottawa, Ontario. I am a Google Plus addict, and after this weekend, I'm a TOR addict. And I have never known what this magical thing called sleep is, but I hear it's nice. Maybe I'll try it sometime. I'm not sure. But as long as my stock of this stuff keeps up, it's probably not going to happen.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's me now.
You're next. It goes down.
Yeah.
Vertec, a.k.a. Damien from, a couple of different sites, Tour Syndicate. Sleep this weekend for me was pretty good because the Thanksgiving thing, I kind of worked on Friday, so I had to drive out, visit the family on Thursday night, and drive back the same night. And, yeah, that was fun. As far as the beta thing, well, I've been in for a little bit, so I didn't have to jump in and attack the weekend quite so severely.
Yeah. Okay. And
Hey
mustache.
everyone, it's Johnny from Sith Vengeance, and had a great time this weekend. Not much sleep, and the holidays. It's just recovering mode.
And Joshua doesn't have a mic. He'll type away, and while he does that, Melissa, go. My little pony,
I'm
my
Melissa,
little
aka
pony.
Malice from ToroCast and Genesis Empire Guild. Yay! I'm currently a pony right now because I don't have my camera.
Lame.
And yes, I am a pig speaker.
I am Mike.
I'm a brony.
I am the other major Google Plus fanboy and TOR fanboy, but yet we still have brains, and so we are here. I am the Guildmaster of Redeemed and Sleep. I actually got a lot of sleep because, like the 2 days before Thanksgiving, a nasty stomach bug decided to come visit me, and it was... But, all good. And then we have below me in the square at the bottom for Hollywood Squares.
Me.
Introduce yourself, sir.
Oh, I just did it. It's me. It's me, Darius. So for sleep, I work at Best Buy, so yeah, good luck with that whole Black Friday thing. I didn't play TOR because everyone else was, and I don't like people who flame on Twitter.
Keep talking. I screwed up our stream. Twitch,
Oh, good.
TV, TOR Hangout.
Oh, and I'm from R2-DB.
He is from R2-DB, which we're going to talk to in a second because we have that on the first thing. It's been an eventful weekend.
Well, I think Aaron's going to get on here if there's room.
Oh, there is room. We've got room.
Sweet.
All right.
And I want to remove
There's
people from
quite a good amount of space.
This is our 10th program. It's going to be the most laid-back one we've had in a while, which is cool because that's what it's about. We're not pros. We're only here because we're fans. I actually did send an invite to Georg. Well, he still can't come on, evidently.
He's probably busy with bugs and bug reporting.
Yeah, and talking about Skyrim
really?
patches.
Oh my god, there was so much that I reported this weekend.
So let's go ahead and start talking about the news real quick. The first thing that I put down on the agenda was this whole thing, and we can come back to it if they get on here, and I love it. R2-DB and Torhead join forces. Tim, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
All right. We joined forces. There's not much out there yet as far as information. and I don't want to speak out of turn, but watch the news for the future.
Okay. Well, anybody else?
I don't want to.
You don't want to.
Well,
Okay.
I don't want to put anything out there that isn't publicly out there yet, and with sleep deprivation, I might just talk my brains out.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, then you shut up for a little bit, and we'll let everybody say what do you feel about this? How do you guys feel about this little conglomeration and merging of sorts, working together?
So I'm not really familiar with Torhead. How far along were they? Because I know R2-DB was pretty far along.
Well, Torhead is basically Wowhead, only Tor style. So just think of that.
But there was, how much was there besides a name?
They data mined a lot.
They've got a lot of stuff up there already. But it's not terribly detailed, but there's a lot of information.
They had, right, and plus they have the infrastructure of the website that's just like Wowhead, probably a lot of the same code that's in there, so that's a plus right there. They didn't have to reinvent a lot of wheels, but yeah, it could be a really good thing for the community. Competition's always good, right?
Same bat time, same bat channel, new bat content.
Okay.
I don't like bats.
Well, then let's move on to the next part. The other thing I put here real quick, and then we'll get into the stuff that we can start talking about, things that we did this weekend and the fun stuff, because we want to talk about the beta. The other thing that actually was surprising was the Instance. How many of you guys have heard of the Instance podcast?
I listen to it weekly myself.
Okay. So it's
What podcast?
the Instance podcast with Scott Johnson. It's a WoW podcast that actually, from the Instance, spawned the largest guild in the world, Aliakta S, and they are also going to be playing Star Wars. Well, Scott introduced today that they are going to be doing an Instance, the Old Republic version, which is kind of exciting for those who are familiar with the Instance podcast formula and everything, and it's going to be kind of cool. Has anybody got anything to say about that or any opinions?
They have a 1 minute teaser on iTunes that's pretty nice.
And the link, I'll put the link in the deal so you guys can check that out too. But
I mean,
what other news has been going on that I put some stuff, but with the beta's kind of been sucking the life out of everything.
I'm kind of mad about all these latecomers that are trying to be huge guilds. My guild's been around since forever, and we just got to 300 people, and then all of a sudden, all these guilds keep popping up.
300.
From all these famous people, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna be the biggest guild out there," and I was like, "We've been working so hard to get this number," and you guys come up and just.
Well,
darn it.
actually, they were there too, so they've been there quite a while. And same with Old Timers Guild.
They were on WoW though.
Well, they're on WoW and Rift and Eve.
And then Eve.
But not Tor until now.
No, they've
they
been there.
They actually had, I want to say the officers have been looking at doing Star Wars The Old Republic as soon as they heard it was announced.
Yeah.
And it had set up 2 guilds, I think, so far, and
I'm
to help
sure
with
they
the
did.
transfer of players.
OTG had to set up 2.
But then they announced Sith, so I had to search for a Republic.
Ditto.
Yeah, there's a surprising number of guilds that are based in other games that are planning on coming over to SOTOR. They just haven't made the big announcement. Like there's a bunch that have applied to TOR Syndicate even, where when I go to look at them, they have a boatload of members, like 150 and 200 members, but they're playing a bunch of other games right now. And even though they talk about the game, they haven't really announced their presence yet.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so then we'll talk about guilds because that's some of the stuff that's in the news. The Friday update came out, and I wanted to cover that a little bit because I want to pick on Melissa a little bit. First thing, the Friday update was that I want to really stress, especially for the community and for guild masters and guild leaders out there, is that the last chance to finalize your guild through the TOR headquarters website is December 2nd. Now, we all know we've been in Phase 3 for, what, has it been 2 weeks now or so? Anybody?
Yeah.
So we've been in it for a couple weeks now, and all of a sudden this is going to end on the 2nd, and what's going to happen is they're going to start running their formulas and figuring out the placement for where to put folks and start doing that. I wanted to jump to a yellow post real quick in with that because there's been a lot of stuff going on in the forums, and I want to talk about the forums a little bit later too. Trolls are abounding tremendously. Somebody was posting, confused and upset about guild placement. A lot of folks are feeling that this whole Phase 3 is going to mean you have to go to this server or that not. David Bass cleared that up. He says you are never going to be forced to join a specific server. The guild placement is a convenience and a suggestion, but at no point are you going to be forced into joining that server. Not to worry. Anyone has more questions, you can check the pre-launch deals. So what that basically means is if your guild is set up and ready to go for deployment, they are going to put you on a server and hopefully get the balance of that server set up. If you don't like the name or you don't like the people you're with or whatnot, whatever is happening, it's who knows. You don't have to go there. You can roll on another server. It won't mean, though, that when you log in on the first day that your server's set up, you're going to have to go through the process like we've been doing in beta, getting to the Republic fleet or the Imperial fleet and setting up the guild that way. So
5,000 credits.
5,000 credits, which is easy to get by that time, especially if you've got a guild.
Oh, yeah.
So that's the issue. So last chance, guys. If you're a guild leader or you have your guild leader's ear and you've not heard from them in a while, tell them to get over to the HQ site for the guild by the 2nd and get all of the invites processed, get all of the alliances and adversaries processed, or else you're going to lose out on what all the cool factor of that is. What do you guys think about the system? You think it's going to work out, or any concerns on it right now?
I hope it works out, because if it does, it's going to be a boon to Genesis. That's for sure.
I have one concern. It seems that the December 2nd cutoff means that's the date that members have to submit their application to the guild. Otherwise, it would have to wait until after launch.
Yes, well, that would be how it would work anyways, and that's what I've already told our folks, is if you're not in the system by the 2nd, then you're going to have to be processed in a standard old-fashioned way that, once the guild's live, we'll bring you in and do guild invites that way.
Yeah, I posted that on the guild forum just today.
Okay. And then we had the Jedi Consular character progression video, which absolutely rocked and solidified my second main.
And silly hats.
And silly hats, which aren't
for
silly.
Everyone.
I think they look really epic.
Oh my god! I know it's supposed to be modeled after Princess Amidala, because she's the only predominant. She is. The consular is supposed to be like the senator type, because they're supposed to be diplomatic and whatnot. And so it's modeled after Princess Amidala, and that's where they got the stupid hats. I'm just like, really? They didn't have anybody else to model the consular after? I mean, Yoda or Mace Windu or someone.
Yoda?
No, they had to go with the stupid hats.
Hats are a big
more of a
seller.
consular. He was at least on the council.
All right, then let me ask you a
Ever
question.
played Team Fortress? Look
Yeah.
at all the hats.
How many here?
Silly hats are awesome.
How many of you actually wear your hats in an MMO?
I do if it looks alright, but it really depends right now.
Yeah, it depends honestly on the rest of my gear. If it looks really hot with the rest of the gear, I'll rock it. If not, then I don't.
How often do they rock it,
I think
though?
mostly all the consulars are going to be like, turn helmet off.
I'm going to send you so many
Picking up
screenshots.
chicks. I wear my hat.
Yeah, and I'm going to send you so many screenshots of me standing over your dead body with my sniper rifle.
You wish.
I'm sorry, but I'm really going to come gunning for you with my Imperial agent now.
We're going to have to roll an alt on our server. How about everybody in the Twitch TV chat room? We got a bunch of people actually watching us now. Yay! It's the 10th show! Oh. How many of you guys wear your helms in MMOs?
I wear my sunglasses at night.
So I can?
So I can.
No, you can't. I wear my
Weirdest
hat.
song ever. You can't answer twice, Virtek.
Well, I like to answer twice. Gets my point out there.
All right, so let's get on to the cool stuff, the really amazing stuff, the stuff that's not so boring, the stuff where we talk about the TOR Weekend Beta. This has been the biggest beta stress test type thing I have ever seen in any game. I don't know about the rest of you. You can say something to dispute that. But It was pretty epic and pretty amazing. I think it was a success. Let's hear what you have to think. Go.
I liked the beta. I got in pretty quickly. I was in a queue for a little bit just because at the beginning I had to go out and buy a Christmas tree. Yeah, I know, early, but so I waited like 3 hours after it was opened, and I got into a queue, and I sat there for like 30 minutes, and I got in. It was pretty quick, and then once I got in, it was smooth.
Which server were you on?
Except
Should be able to PvP in
server was Prophecy of the Five.
Okay, that's one of the new weekend servers.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was a PvP server.
All right.
Personally, I can kind of agree with the whole biggest beta ever thing. I mean, I don't know how big like the WoW beta was anyway, but beyond that, any other game that I've played beta for, there was nowhere near that many people even invited or allowed in. Even on an open beta, there was never that many people playing.
Okay.
Do we know what the number was?
No, but we can.
I don't think we'll ever know.
We can speculate. We're good at that.
Big enough.
Well,
Yeah.
if you can actually count it. If you add up all the giveaways for the codes, you take all those numbers, and then you add up all the people who registered before November 11th, 2011. That's the number.
Well, that was the invite list anyway. That's
That's
not
the
really many
invite
people
list, and then
really showed up.
just add in a couple other hundred for any general beta testers. Boom.
I know the first night on Friday we were on White Beam Run, and there was a queue of about 600, but it actually moved pretty quickly. Even though the numbers were not reporting that, they were saying something like, "It's going to be 24 days till you can get on." What? It wasn't actually like that.
It was like a 2-day wait. It was a 3-hour wait on my server, and I got in 20 minutes, and I was like, "What?"
That's just a bug, but it went really quick,
Calcs.
and we didn't have many problems at all. Even when we were on Tython, there was, I think at one time I noticed 8 instances of Tython up, and even with that many instances, meaning that many folks in the zone, it was still running really smooth.
Yeah.
Did you guys experience any major lag or anything from people and congestion?
Not me. I mean, it was still running really, really smooth, which is one of the successes of that queue system that they have installed there, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've only
the only lag that I really got was starting conversations. Sometimes it would,
Yeah,
it
that
would
took
lag and
forever.
wait for party members or whatever for a minute or two, and then it would go. But that only happened a few times.
But that was so much fun watching those multiplayer discussions, and your player pops up there because they won the social role.
Oh, that was fun. You're like, I
feel
won.
like, I'm so bad.
I always liked winning conversations. It's fun.
Yeah, I feel so important.
Now the folks.
It's just like, I got to kill him. Ha ha.
There's a question on the
It's a great
forums
news.
that the Torocast guys kind of dealt with on their podcast. If you haven't listened to that, go check it out because it gets pretty funny. One of the questions
Yeah.
on the forums that has been kicked around, has always kicked around, is: do you think that this build is ready, and do you think Tor's ready? So I'm gonna let you guys kick
No.
that around a little bit.
I don't think this build should be launch build.
Well, it won't be.
Ooh, hardcore.
Yep. I'm
Yeah,
just
I'm
gonna
only
drop
saying
that.
I'm only saying it shouldn't because they have time to fix bugs and whatnot. But if it did go live like this, it would still be not quite as buggy as some others that I have seen go gold.
True.
It wouldn't be as buggy as others, but there are still some problems, like
Like what?
the dead pixel.
Oh,
There's always
Yeah,
that
but-
annoys
Oh,
me.
God.
Maps.
sure.
I spent hours looking at that pixel.
Now,
That
what
dead
what
pixel,
cards do
and
you have?
on my
Hold
computer,
on. What cards do you
I
have?
don't know what it is, but anytime I if I booted up the computer and went on the internet and did stuff on Google Chrome, and then I went to the game, or if I alt-tabbed out of the game, my entire computer would shut down immediately. I'd be playing, then all of a sudden, down.
I had that too.
Yes, Joshua. Georg has mentioned that this is not the build for launch, and that's the thing that I'm trying to drive home as we talk about this, is everybody starts QQing on the forums about how it's not ready and everything. I can tell you as a multiple build tester that this is actually really, really close and really solid compared to some of the others. and that we can't think of it in the way that each time is maybe a progression forward. They also do some changes and things to test some dynamics and to also get the stress test. That's one thing that drove me nuts with a lot of posts is people keep complaining on Twitter or in Google Plus, even in Facebook, is that I can't get in or this game sucks or and all these things because they can't, all this, not realizing that the reason that this weekend existed was not to let them see the game. I mean, that's a part of it. BioWare wants to sell the game, sure, but this was a stress test, and we were taxing the system to its fullest to see what numbers could then be applied and adjusted on the server ends, the mechanic ends, and all that. So, with that said, what are some other things that you guys saw that maybe you think still need tweaking?
When they shut down the server and the server comes back, that needs tweaking. Big boom.
I was never on when they did a server reset, so I never experienced it.
They needed to tweak their estimated time for getting onto the server, like their estimated queue time.
Okay.
That was funny.
Yeah, that formula is hilarious. I don't know where they get 10 days out of it when it's a weekend test.
Those are difficult things to. I'm not going to tell you I don't know the math, but I do know that it's not as easy as just saying, okay, there's this many people, because you've got influx of people coming into the origin zone that they've got to take into account, and so it's that whole system is in flux constantly. So the formula, yeah, it was that way in Rift too. People. I heard,
but they have PhDs.
When I heard Toro,
quants.
I'm going to pick on Melissa and her gang. When they were talking about how smooth Rift launch went, I nearly fell over. It's like, you guys definitely were not in the same launch I was, because that whole week-long whole problem with the queues that everybody was complaining about was not a smooth launch. I'm sorry.
But what did Tryon do to combat that? And that was the only thing that they could do when they launched more servers.
Exactly. And well, that was the other thing. And here for this stress test, people are saying, if they're only going to have this many servers, it's a stress test. And they've already said
they launched more.
They did. So, but hey, that's the community, and we need to help them realize. All right, so we've got some things.
The community that fills general chat with wow.
Oh, you know what else they need to fix? Companion pathing.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. Like, my companion would bug out like she was on speed and E and, like, all this ridiculousness. She'd be on one side, on the other side, just everywhere at the same time. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I kind of considered mine as if he was doing disco just without the cantina.
Now, when are you talking? Actually in combat, or when you're, like, coming up to turn in a quest or something? Because
when I'm just walking around, or I'm just standing in one spot, and they're just porting everywhere on the screen.
Okay. All right.
Man, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I got lucky because there's some bugs that I just didn't experience, like the dead pixel thing. I never saw that once, so I was really curious about it.
I saw the dead pixel, yeah.
Which
maybe it's your graphics card
bug.
Well, the companion pathing thing never hit me.
I did see some screenshots of some graphics artifacts that some folks were having. I think it was just settings and things, but again, this isn't the absolute build. Now, see, let me ask you about the pathing, because when you say pathing, being an old WoW hunter, I think of the problems with the pet actually getting to the place and actually bugging out in combat. Did you have any of that problems?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I never aggroed.
Anytime I was chilling, just standing around or walking somewhere, they'd bug out. Anytime there was battle, they worked perfectly fine.
Okay.
Albeit they were still kind of retarded AI, but that's the AI. That wasn't the pathing.
You know, here's a small thing. There is one little thing I've noticed that kind of bothers me about my companions, and I love the companions, is that they're always looking at me. Always looking at me.
I'm okay with that.
Uncanny Valley for you.
I'm
waiting for gifts.
The only other problem. They wouldn't shut up.
Yes.
Oh, I got this. Oh, I'm fine. Let me do this. The robot. Oh, I was wondering how else I could better please you, Master. Mako. I'm fine. Let me do this myself. I can do this. I'm like, oh my God, shut up. You're not even mine.
Yeah.
Why are you talking to me?
I didn't
across the map.
Exactly. Other people's was the one I was having the issue with.
Flight path.
There is some proximity.
I was flying and I heard them.
There is some proximity audio issues, not only with them, with other systems in the game. And I'm an Audible player because I came from first-person shooters, and so I'm always listening for audio cues, and it's like, what the heck? And it's like, wait, they're not over there. They're like in the next country, So, okay.
Yeah, They need
So
to add
I
an
did
option
some
to
math.
mute it.
The map.
Or not math. I didn't do math. I just did adding. And it took me a long time. And I posted the number of registered accounts there are on the Star Wars forums. And it's tragic. It took me a long time, and I'm sad.
What's the number?
I'm bad at math. 2229610.
2 million. Wait, you got to put decimals in.
I just added.
Okay,
Don't-
2 million.
You do the work
Yeah, 2,229,610 people registered accounts.
on the forums. Yep.
That brings me.
So-
We're going to
Bad.
diverge here for just a second because that reminds me something about the forums. The Torocast again. I know I'm plugging them in. They're not even on the show. Sam wouldn't come. He's playing BF3. Anyway, one of the things they mentioned today is, and I really thought this is something Tryon did that was absolutely brilliant. Once they launched the game, is they locked the forums down to only registered and paying customers.
Yes.
What do you think about an idea like that? And
Do it.
Brilliant.
Do it.
Get rid of the forums altogether.
Oh, that too.
well,
Make them all use R2-DB.
There's an idea.
I went to
here's
the
Aaron.
WoW. I went to the WoW Armory, and if you look up your character, it says there is an error. Your account is disabled or not paid, or you need to speak to customer service. That's what they should do. Just like WoW.
yeah, but see, you just
Like
brought up a good.
broke ass. Pay us.
You just actually, Johnny, brought up a argument to this whole thing because even with that, you can't post on the forums unless you're a paid customer with WoW, and look at that place. So, I don't know.
Well, at least though it would solve a little bit of login issues and lag and latency if you need to get to the forums to find something out because you're playing the game and you're having an issue.
Yeah,
You
you should
might be
have
locked up.
priority.
Yeah,
Oh,
you might be locked
realistically,
out
yeah.
because there's like 500,000 or 600,000 people that aren't paying. They're just trying to read what other people are typing.
Well, and
Realistically,
Yeah.
you just go there to get flamed. anyways.
Exactly,
So,
and I'm
like,
with you. And we've got a perfect example or a perfect opportunity. I can speak good to kind of plug this. R2-DB. Hey, Aaron, nice to see you, bro. One of the things I want to,
Hi there.
here's the deal. When we're playing WoW, like Tim just said, I don't go to the official forums. I haven't been to the official forums in probably over 2 years, except for by accident. I don't really read the SWTOR official forums right now because it's gotten so bad, and we've got a great community on Google Plus, and I'll even browse through Twitter. But when I have an issue or something I need an answer for, I'm going to go to some trusted resources, and I'm going to look there. And so that's what our community is doing and building, and I want to give everybody an opportunity to kind of chat in on that because we've got some representatives here from a really great community resource site. And I think that's how it is. Like you said, forums get away from them, but we're not going to be able to convince everybody to do that. We're old and curmudgeons.
Yes,
So.
tell the masses to trust those of the dark side.
Forget forums. Go back to IRC.
we are.
I know they are. I installed MIRC. I haven't had that in years, so that I could talk to these guys. But
Our primary form of communication is IRC.
Excellent.
but what do you
So,
think about
hey,
that
everyone,
concept?
That's Aaron. It's Aaron from R2-DB.
Aaron, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I have Corey next to me as well, but his laptop's not handling it well. The Hangout, that's his hand.
Nice hand.
Hey, Corey's hand.
Now he's photobombing.
Is there two people on that camera?
Shouldn't you guys be coding? No.
Yeah, we were, but
You got
it's
some
like,
massive
oh,
headroom there. You might want to angle the camera down a bit so we can see you. There you go.
Launch beards.
Launch
We
dudes.
agree wholeheartedly.
right.
Hand body, mustache.
All right, so tell us.
Aw.
Why don't you guys fill us in since we got you here? And it's awesome that you guys joined in. Let us know a little bit about your heart with the community and how your plans to get the community involved so that we have some resources so we don't have to be infested by the trolls. What's on your mind, guys?
Basically, if you've ever worked in programming, there's a site called Stack Overflow, and it's a great resource for just finding information and talking, out problems with other people. And we figured MMOs did that same kind of love. So we tried implementing that and wrapping an item database around it, and just we're trying to create all the social tools you need to be able to like ask the questions you need while you're playing, and talk, and just very easily convey your ideas.
Okay.
It's true. I don't know. Silence sucked.
Your mustache is pretty awesome there.
Thank you.
And I think
You inspired me.
I think we need resources like this exactly to work and to get the community together, because that's what we need, so we don't have all the trolls. Because the trolls are really, really bad right now. And what do you expect? It's an open beta. It's really not an open beta. They don't call it that, but that's pretty much what this was. So let's talk more about that. I got a couple of suggestions here. I asked folks in the stream, what they had questions about and observations. Joseph Miaz said questions and observations. First, he says, a way to add friends that are offline as of now. If my buddy logs off, I cannot add him. Can we change this? In-game mail, he wants to see an address book so that if you have your friends in your friends list, you can just start typing, and macros and stuff like that. What do you guys think about these things? Are these things that you would like to see?
Wait, he couldn't add somebody to his friends list if they were offline?
Nope.
Oh, I thought I was able to do that.
Huh.
It'll say that person is too far from you or something, or at least it used to.
They're very far.
They're on another planet.
All right, well, what are some more... Go ahead.
I was going to say, that's sort of the thing that add-ons did for WoW. All this stuff that was obnoxious for players to have to do over and over again. Like if you were playing on an auction house character and had to unload your mailbox with hundreds of items, it was terrible. So hopefully either they do this stuff or they allow add-ons eventually, so that way developers can come out with that kind of stuff. I think it'd be great.
Which becomes a
Or
sticky
you send
topic.
them to R2-DB, and you have all these people following you, and then you'd be like, dude, I need to add you in-game, and then you guys can set up a team using R2-DB.
Well, sure. Well, let's talk about add-ons really quickly, because that can become a very
so what's
divisive
the
issue.
big fear with BioWare and add-ons? Is it the botting and the gold credit mining?
I don't think they have a problem so much as it takes resources to put that into the game and have the hooks and everything. I'm not going to pretend to act like a developer. We've got real guys here that actually do this. But it's not as easy as just flipping a switch. I think the problem is it becomes a very divisive issue in the community, because you've got some that are so anti-modding or plugins, and you've got some that are so pro. And there's got to be a ground in the middle where we can actually get to on this, because I see the benefit to make a lot of things easier, and we have to admit WoW has actually taken a lot of the great add-ons that some of these great guys have developed and spent hours of their life doing. They've actually implemented them into the core features of the game, and we actually see some of those benefits in TOR itself because it's trickled down. But if we allow things that let's go with the most touchiest hot topic one there is, gear score. First of all, gear score, you don't want to get me started, but what does gear score bring out in you? What are your feelings, and what do you think that would do to the community if all of a sudden gear score was introduced?
Gear score gives me rating. I'm rating, I'm doing good, and I'm got my gear score. So it's like, hey, check it out, I'm awesome.
Okay, so whipping out your E-Beam.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a hardcore raider. I whip it out.
All right, let's go with that. We're getting philosophical here. Is every player that has a high gear score a good player?
That's where I would step in and say no. But my
depending.
opinion on gear score is one of those, no matter what your opinion on gear score, when you are inviting people to a raid, you always do what? You look at their gear.
Yep.
So why not have a tool that looks at it for you, so that you can be like, okay, well, there's a good general idea of what's going on. Now we get to see how you play. Come on and join the team.
Okay.
There's a tool that looks at it. It's called the Raid Leader.
I mean, it used to be important in WoW to have a good gear score, and then they made everything too easy. So
Well,
it doesn't matter.
that's my point on add-ons too. Is that the add-ons made WoW too easy? To be honest, like once you started getting like DVM and whatnot, they would tell you everything that's going on. And what was one that was all 3D and literally told you where to move, and pointed arrows and little flashing dots on the
Quest
cards?
Helper. Oh, the Quest Helper, yeah.
Oh no, literally.
No,
like,
there
during a
was
boss fight,
it was a rating one, and they actually Blizzard had them
Oh,
pull
they
it.
had to ban that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah,
Because that
So, I mean,
was a
stuff like that.
no-brainer.
Yeah,
Well,
after
that
a while,
people
Blizzard,
were
they had to
using it
start
for-
tuning fights, assuming that everybody had DBM. Therefore, it got too hard for those that didn't have it, and it was super easy for those that did. So that's kind of how add-ons would break things like fights in the future and cause like the coding conflicts and coding issues where how do you adjust for assuming only a certain part of the population has add-ons, make the game entertaining for them while still entertaining for everybody who doesn't.
Okay, but here we've just kind of answered the question. Even in our little hangout, which we all get along, it still becomes an issue, and this can be something that'll drive the community apart. So how do we deal with that? I don't have a good answer, but it is something that eventually, I think the official word is something along the lines that it possibly in the future, but not at launch, definitely. So we could then get that, and they could limit it. You know, Turbine did this with Lotro. They've made it to where the API set is not as inclusive as like WoW's is, and so the add-ons that are in that game are pretty much for helpers and things like that. They have DPS meters and things along those lines. But who knows if they open that up so that we can get these things like mail and address books or whatnot. But what about macros? Just the plain simple ability to have macros. And there's one of our regulars who's not here, Eric, who multi-boxes. And there's a lot of multi-boxing guys that they do it as a hobby. The lack of macros becomes an issue for them. And then there's other things that macros...
The lack of macros, the client takes like 3 gigabytes RAM.
Yeah, I'm a
Each
macro lover
instance
myself.
is taking too much memory, each
Well,
instance.
that's why he's multi-boxing, which means he's running multiple PCs.
Well, you could also multi-box on the same PC.
If you have a beefy...
Tor
If you have
won't
a...
let you.
There's probably
right now.
ways around it, but you still have to have a
Oh,
pretty
sure.
beefy system.
Right.
But yeah, I need a macro for get out of the fire, stupid. You know.
It's called Ventrilo.
What do you guys think about macros and the need for them?
I think they're a waste of time.
So you never
I
use
love
macros.
I never I macroed in Ultima Online. That was it. Macroed.
Yeah, I love me some macros, but I don't think they're required by any means.
Okay.
No,
Are
not,
they in Rune Quest?
Sorry.
The
That
only
was referenced.
justifiable reason to have it would be to do like the focus target type stuff or the target of target or anything like that. But the focus target system in Tor is great as it is. You can set your focus target and then use the modifier key just to cast on them without targeting.
And there's a really good video showing you just how to do that over
Yeah,
at our
exactly.
YouTube channel.
Gee, I wonder who made that.
I
video.
wonder.
That would be my only argument for having macros right off the bat.
You did bring up a good point that is missing in my book, though, and that is the target-to-target frame.
oh,
I
yeah.
thought they had that.
No, there is no target-of-target frame. You, as a tank, this is something that I'm really missing because when I've got a mob in front of me and I've got his attention, I want to see instantly by a visual indicator that he's targeting somebody else. Because unlike a lot of MMOs, a lot of the mobs that we are tanking in this game, they won't kite real easily. They'll actually do ranged attacks on other folks, and unless they're moving or whatnot, it can become hard for a tank to determine if they've changed aggro. So maybe that's what I've always used in WoW and Lotro and in Rift is a target-of-target frame, so I can tell, hey, he's not looking at me anymore. I need to go make sure that I get him off this guy.
Yeah. Is it just me, or did the aggro of some of the bosses seem very random?
It's,
Like-
it's it out.
Like my tank couldn't hold any aggro,
What
and
level?
I knew this guy. Like I knew him.
What
He wasn't
level?
a bad
What
tank.
level?
It was the hammer.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't random. It's just the design of the game at the moment. You really don't get all
Yeah.
of your tanking tools until the 20s and 30s in Tor.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah, you don't
different,
get like your
I
aggro
guess my
build till
DPS
14,
was
I
too
think.
awesome.
which is going to be an issue from a community standpoint that we're going to hear a lot of people in general chat complaining about this, but it is a different way of thinking about it coming from those other games where you hit level 10 and you're all of a sudden the mightiest tank in the world. That's not how it's going to work here. We have to work our way up to it by getting those skills, and some people are going to get
Yeah.
frustrated by it.
Yeah, you don't really start even getting any real tank skills till like 14, and you can't even call yourself a real tank until about 20 anyway.
You don't get your taunt till 16 or 18?
We were
Yeah.
level 17 doing the hammer.
It's still. The mobs are tuned so that they don't necessarily need one tank, and Georg has mentioned that several times. It's in the Twitter feeds and the Google Plus feeds that it's just go in there, beat them up, and then later on you'll be able to get your tanking tank.
Keeping in mind that this is beta still, so they could be measuring metrics based on one tank or
Sure.
the capacity of one player.
I hope they
So
don't
it's-
nerf the sniper. That was some pretty awesome DPS.
Oh, they will,
Anything you
and
see
then
now you can't expect.
then my sage will be standing over you laughing with a funny hat on.
No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna step on that hat. I'm gonna crush it. Vertex keeps crashing his.
Yeah, I told you I'm using my phone.
Whoa!
And I keep getting messages.
Earth-
It vibrates on me and falls over.
So I'm in game right now, and I just noticed something. I'm talking about things that are potentially missing. Do you guys see an issue with the lack of combat log right now? Or the floating text, okay.
As a
It would be nice.
Yes. Even if you can't examine it in game, to be able to go back and look at what you did and how you can improve yourself, I would like that.
Well, if there's an external one parser, they're going to come out within a day. If there was a save log for it.
Well, that's the problem, is there's no save
Yeah,
log.
but would
don't
like
think
to
it could
see
be.
it then.
Logically, and this just came to mind, is why couldn't they have some sort of after interface, like when you get done with a PvP event, where it pops up and shows you, charts of your damage progression or heal progression that's visible to everybody in the raid. So
That's a cool idea.
Or like Modern Warfare, where you could just record the whole session to theater.
That would be very cumbersome.
I would have to go look it up, but I know that they have mentioned in the beta forums that the combat log is turned off, and I don't know if they've said why. I can imagine why, that they don't want people comparing and actually trying to determine the best class specifics at this point, because that's still subject to change. But with what they said, I would imagine that they are eventually going to be turning on the combat log so that we can see that. Don't know if they'll be exportable, which we'd hope for, because then, we could use parsers and be able to see that.
That prevents
The,
data miners.
Yeah, at the Fansite Summit, they talked about it directly and said that their game, on average, produces 3 more actions a second than WoW does, let's say. So the combat
lot of
log is
data.
just so filled with data that it's really rough on the system, and they need to improve that. And right now, if you were just to feed it into the game, it wouldn't be that useful.
Right.
Until you could feed it out for something.
Right.
But I mean, you got to consider your basic attack is like 2, 3, 4 shots, depending on your class.
True.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I know, unless plans have changed, I know, I believe it was Georg that mentioned it. It was like 4 months ago or something. It probably still find it in the dev tracker, but he had said that there won't be any damage meters or anything built into the game, but that's not to say that there won't be a combat log that you can parse. So it sounded like the way the interview was going, that they were going to plan on making a combat log. It just wasn't really going to be designed to have an in-game
They don't want to
viewable.
promise it.
Well, that makes
Yeah.
sense, because as far as I know, there's no game that has a DPS meter built in. It's all external programs. Am I missing anything? Is there any that anybody knows of?
I thought
Not
WoW
an MMO.
implemented one.
What's that?
I thought they implemented one in WoW.
No,
it
they
was
have
so popular.
they have a threat meter. They do not have a
No,
built-in.
the threat.
They do not have a
No.
built-in DPS meter.
But they also may not what you may see in a combat log may not necessarily be everything that happens, which is why I think it would be kind of
And again,
anti-productive.
as a tank, I would love to have a threat meter type system in place, but I'm not going to complain too much about that at the moment. The best threat meter is, hey, if my clothy is dead on the floor, you pulled aggro.
Yeah, pretty much.
You did something wrong.
So
Well, no. See, the cloth is the tank. The assassin.
Just use guard.
The assassin is the tank now.
let's
so.
talk about the map real quick. I experienced the map bug, which is the first time I have, and that was kind of frustrating. The only way I could figure out how to get it to work again was to actually close the client all the way out and back in. Did anybody else have the map issue where suddenly everything moved up into the upper left-hand corner, or for the video here, upper left-hand corner, and there's no way you could see where you were, where objects were, or anything. That was
I
kind of...
had that happen to me like once, and that was it.
Yeah,
To me, that happened Only on the space station. That's the only place it happened for me.
Yeah. Sometimes you can actually fix it by hiding the user interface and then showing it again, which is Control U.
I think I tried that,
But it doesn't
yeah.
always work.
Okay.
Like, I've had it where I had to log out and back in before it would work again.
Because I even tried resetting the UI, which if you don't know, folks, Control U twice is reset UI, and that didn't do it. So
What I thought was funny was the looting bug, where you had to do /sit twice in order to loot. I was like, really?
I never
How are
had
those
that.
two connected?
Yeah, there's a much easier way to do that. That was just shift and right click, and it would unbug you.
okay.
Oh, that brings up one thing that I love that they did.
Okay.
They have auto loot, which is great, but they have auto area loot.
Yeah, AoE
so
auto
you don't have
loot's
to keep
awesome.
going from body to body.
It's a saver.
Yeah.
I got really used to that in Rift, and when I went back to WoW after I got bored with Rift, I so missed it.
Back to WoW.
Yeah, for like a month. There was nothing else out there.
You could have played Minecraft or Solitaire or Cooked.
Anyway,
Minesweeper.
let's get on to the next topic. This one's a big one, and Michael Washington, he's on our Google Plus stream. This has been something that's been concerning him a lot, and he brings up PvP, the horrible state of PvP in SWTOR. Now that's his words. Let's kick that around. What do you think is the state of PvP right now? Do you think it's horrible? Do you think it's doable?
I like it outside of the Stunfest that it is, for me at least.
I had a great time with PvP. I did Hutball once, and it was awesome. My character was able to live for a good amount of time. I did a good amount of damage. I was stunned a bit, but my stun unlock worked.
I think there's too long of a cooldown
It's
on
a
your...
very long cooldown.
Oh, it is a
Yeah,
very
it's
long
long
cooldown.
cooldown.
That's true.
I hate PvP if I'm losing. Otherwise, it's great.
Oh, yeah. That's
My
the other
team
thing
won.
about it.
My team had a flawless victory.
When
so.
you lose, you get XP.
Right. I still lose.
Although I tried loading up one earlier today, and I ended up just sitting at the load screen while the battle raged on. I don't even know who won or lost.
Yeah.
But
I
you
heard
still
that.
got
I heard
XP.
after the first day they had like a whole bunch of bugs going on with it. Like one team would get all the players, and then the other team wouldn't load any players. So
That's awesome.
the large team would default win.
Well, right now, do you think there's any major imbalances? Now, for me, my frustration was the fact that we're in a beta and nobody's doing what they're supposed to be doing for the war zone. They're just basically free-for-alling, and that frustrates me and gets my blood pressure going because I want to actually complete the objectives. But I did notice there did seem to be some overpower stuff. I don't know where I can appreciate his heart in this. I don't see personally a major issue with it, but then I'm not a hardcore PvPer. So can anybody address that from a hardcore PvP, or what have you seen OP or maybe just right?
You're never going to get match. You're going to have 1 out of every 5 matches where people are going to be like, yeah, let's actually play the game. Everyone else is just going to be on a kill fest. It's just the nature of the game.
Well, that's
But,
PvP with any game, though.
But in games where you're supposed to have some, I mean, look at Modern Warfare 3, which is the whole game it's PvP. You know, people don't actually do what they're supposed to do; they just kill everyone. It's
Which is why I don't play it.
I think the only imbalance is going to be player based, and what I mean is you're going to get matches that you have 5 or 6 of a class who does nothing but stun locks. And you can't really. That's not the game's fault. That's not the mechanics' fault. That's just the kind of the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I find maybe a little bit of an imbalance is it feels like, maybe just because more people are playing them, but it feels like the Consulars and Inquisitors have a few too many tools for PvP as compared to the other classes. But
You mean you
that
don't like
could
being
be just-
stun locked for 5 minutes straight?
Well, I think that little 4 blasting where they knock everybody
Oh,
out
yeah.
just has way too short of a
Yeah,
cooldown.
yeah.
because
I have one as a bounty hunter.
Well, troopers have that with the concussive shell or whatever it is.
Isn't it a cone, though?
It's my favorite animation.
Isn't it cone?
it doesn't knock everybody
No,
out.
it's AoE off the center trooper, so
Oh, okay.
from the trooper.
I went up
You don't
against
really
an
grind
Inquisitor
points, though.
that knocked me off of a building or off of a high place twice, and I had to give him props, but then I wanted to kill him.
I think what really grinds my gears is that there is no variation in how the abilities are executed, or rather what they do, maybe how they look. But if you put a bounty hunter up with a commando, it's going to be kind of the most boring fight you'll ever watch.
Yeah, but the bounty hunter gets death from above. The commando does not.
But the commando gets something equally impressive.
But it's not death from above, and death from above is awesome.
Which also bothers me because I have a jetpack that I can only use when I'm killing people. What if I just want to, breeze around the city? Yeah. I don't use my jetpack. I pay free gas.
Yeah, some of the classes it's going to be kind of boring just because it all looks the same, especially with the blaster classes. I think the most different in animations is the Consular and Inquisitor. Those have the two most very different animations. That would be an interesting fight. Consular would die, though.
Well, I mean, and this topic asks the question, which BioWare has always said, and Dallas has always said, oh, we're looking for that epic battle feel. I don't think it feels every time I get into a fight. It doesn't feel epic to me.
Not yet.
I don't think I've ever had. Well, every experience you're supposed to have, according to Mr. Dallas Dickinson, is you're going to have that epic Star Wars battle feel, and I don't. I feel like I'm shooting somebody with a gun until they die, and then I'm going to pick up loot and moving on. Yeah,
I'm not sure about the epicness either. Again, running around with chickens with their head cut off, it seemed that I don't know, it wasn't epic, but it has potential. I'm looking forward to it. And there's another interesting thing. Or first, let's talk about the MVP system, which is new to this build. What do you think about that as an incentive? Now, remember, there's also something for us to consider, which we've kind of skirted over, thinking from other games. Is we're going to be server-based here. So a server community, your enemies that you're going to be facing every day in these battlegrounds are going to be folks that you're going to start recognizing and know over and over. So with that in mind, as a community environment, this MVP system, how do you think that's going to affect PvP?
MVP's been in since August.
Oh, has it? Dirt.
Yeah, wait
shows you how much I PvP.
The MVP only works if people vote, and people don't vote.
Well, yeah, I think that part of that is because it is still beta, and there's still new people coming in, and they just want to get in and see what their character can do when they slap somebody in the face with their lightsaber or blast somebody from across the room. But like you were saying, once a PvP community starts building, like I'm already noticing certain names, and I'll pick out exactly who I'm going to start healing based on I've already run with this guy a couple times, so he's getting my heals because I know he knows what he's doing, and we're going to be goal-oriented versus, fighting in the death pit.
Right.
Yeah.
That's going to be... Go ahead.
I think a lot of these problems that is being brought up, how the PvP isn't epic and nobody's voting in the MVP system and all that, is that this is a beta weekend. Nobody knows how to play anything except for you general testers. And so nobody knows how to do any of this stuff. I think once the game launches, it's been at like a month or so, people know their classes, it's going to be a lot better.
I will strongly disagree with that, having played massive amount of MMO, I almost said MVPs. MMOs. People get complacent. People get very complacent with the game. They want to get in, get off, and get out, so to speak. And they won't. They'll just do what they won't vote for MVPs. They'll play the game. They'll queue up for the next one and QQ on chat if they didn't win.
That's right. I'm hoping that the community aspect of being a server, if we can then build the community up on that server to have a good server culture, maybe we can at least have that for a little while. I know that I'm wishful thinking, and then eventually it will maybe break down, but I'm hoping, because I still remember the good old days of Vanilla WoW and the PvP fun I had there going against those adversaries, all the way leveling up from the 20s on into the 60s, and that was good times. I kind of hope we can recapture that.
It's all about the server and the people and the elitist jerks that populate aforementioned server.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Besides the PvP, there's some other systems and things in there people have been talking about a lot on the forums and in general, space combat being one of them. It seems like, and I'm just going to throw this out there because I did not play Star Wars Galaxies, but it seems like a lot of Star Wars Galaxy people are the ones that are getting kind of upset and pushing on the combat thing because it's not the same as it was there. So, what are your impressions of the in-game mini-game? It's not a major part of the game, of the space combat that we have now in TOR.
Skyfox.
It's hard.
Yeah, I kind of dig it. I mean, yeah, they could boost up a little bit of the difficulty a little bit quicker because it does get harder later on. But once you buy the top upgrades for that tier, it's not quite so hard.
No, you're
although
unstoppable.
I haven't gotten to the tier 5 or whatever and beyond that. But some of the guys in the guild have, and they say it gets a lot tougher. Like with all the top upgrades, except for the big nuke you get at level 50, it's really tough, and they barely make it through some missions.
Cool. I found that as you're leveling, do those dailies. Oh man, that's a lot of XP that you can get doing those dailies, and then also be able to upgrade your ship with the marks that you get.
And
it's fun.
What are you getting from those missions?
Basically XP and some credits.
I'll hurt you.
Yeah.
Carpal tunnel.
Do you get commendations?
Did you gain like more XP doing space missions than you did actual like questing?
I'm wanting to say at around 16 or 17, I was getting 5K for doing the daily.
Yeah, I don't know. Some people were telling me how they got more XP doing the space missions than any other quests.
You do, mainly because you get that big chunk of experience for the quest, but as you kill stuff, like every ship you kill,
It's like
you get
7.
like 100 experience or 130 experience. You blow up a turret and it gives you 90 experience. So you're getting constant experience flow while you're in there. So you may only get 50 or 5K for the quest turn-in, but you may have actually got 15 or 20K.
Yeah. Plus
so
the
how
side
about
quests.
leveling just through that?
No, unless you want to play the game for 24 years.
There's actually some people. I actually read somewhere that somebody was actually thinking about doing that. Of course, you've got to get.
We talked about it last week.
Oh, okay. See, I'm old. I forget stuff. You have to get to your ship first, but that would be an interesting way to do it. Kind of like the guys who decide they're not going to kill anything and they're just going to do delivery.
Pacifist players.
Yeah, pacifist.
Oh, we
players.
talked about crafting, doing it solely crafting.
Oh yeah, crafting too.
Wow.
But I think.
Well, honestly.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, as long as you just do your dailies, like every day, do all your dailies. Once you start getting more and more quests, you get more and more dailies. If you do those, you'll get big experience, and just after doing those, you do like PvP while you're running around and whatnot. You'll actually level through pretty quick, but I don't think you'll level very quick if you continuously do space combat after those dailies are done.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a huge chunk right off the bat, but then it slows down a lot.
Well, Miss Keeley, you snuck in here. What has been your take on this weekend?
Well, I didn't get very far because I don't know if it was you I was telling, but I kept trying to play a character that I wouldn't want to play on launch, and I kept failing because every character I picked up, I get to level 5 and be like, dang it, I like this too much, I have to play. So I started out with the bounty hunter because that is what I want to play, but I just kind of wanted to see and make sure type thing, and then I was like, okay, well this is way too much fun, I have to stop before I get too far, and then I switched over okay, well I'll just play some Republic because there's no way I'm going to want to play Republic when I play the game. And I played the Consular until level 5 or 7 or something like that, and I was like, okay, that's too much fun.
And they have awesome hats.
There's no way I'm going to want to play And I played the Smuggler until level 7 or something, and that was too much fun, so I just shut the game off.
Nice. I'm sick of you. You're too fun.
Well, honestly,
That's exactly what they wanted.
Honestly, what I did this weekend, I logged in and I played a little bit on my Guardian that I had leveled the last weekend test. But mainly I did management stuff with the guild, getting people invited and all that. But then my wife got in on Saturday, and we rolled a pair of troopers and had a blast co-leveling through Ord Mantell. I was very surprised and very pleased to find that you don't get a hit on XP. And it was actually the first time that I was level 10 before I left the Origin world. And that was with us both working together. Yeah, it was awesome.
I was 12 or 13 by the time I left Ord.
Were you?
I'm right around 9 or 10.
Yeah, you should. There should be a failsafe thing where you are 10 by the time you leave.
No, there doesn't have to be.
But you have to be 10 to pick your advanced class.
Yes, you
and that's
do.
The only
But you don't have to pick
But
your
you do
advanced
not have to
class.
have an advanced class to continue questing in Coruscant or in Droman Cross.
Indeed.
and you will reach 10 quickly. Usually 1 or 2 quests on Coruscant is when I would hit 10. I go back, pick up my advanced class quest, and carry on. The biggest problem I had all weekend was trying to answer everybody's questions. Where do I get my advanced class quest? Holy cow. You know?
People obviously don't talk to the first quest master they come to.
No, they don't. You know, that thing that's got a quest on it. Yeah. Now, of course, there's been... Go ahead.
I actually had a little bug where the quest giver or the little quest thing would not pop up unless I was standing directly on top of the guy on my screen or on my mini-map. It just wouldn't show up, and I had to stand on top of it.
I had something similar to that if I didn't mouse over them, I didn't see a quest indicator sometimes.
No, I didn't see the person at all, or the quest indicator.
Yes. Could have been you were running hot, I don't know.
Fell again. Take a drink.
Nice.
That's where I didn't plan for that
Here's
game.
the SWTOR drinking game. Anytime someone mentions Dead Pixel, their story in the game, and immersion.
See, I never had the... I didn't have the Dead Pixel, so I don't know what you're all talking about.
I don't.
There's a drink for mentioning it.
You guys can see the perfect pixels I have.
The perfect pixels. Now,
It's amazing.
let me go ahead and a couple more things, and then we're going to do our pimping here. The first TOR Machinima has hit the airwaves. Yes,
There's been TOR Machinima, though.
not
made
like
for,
this. Not like
okay.
not from
Not
in-game legal in-game footage. You know, a lot of people have taken the cinema trailers, and that's not Machinima. That's just re-editing and stuff. I'm guilty of that too. This was in-game footage. This is what Machinima is all about. And if you have not seen it, you have got to watch it. It is absolutely epic. It had 300 hits yesterday when Stephen Reed posted it on Twitter. Today, I think it's got over 24,000 hits.
It was
Can you
fun,
link it?
too.
It is fun.
Man, maybe I should do that.
And so I'm looking forward. I'm a huge Machinima fan, and I am looking forward to seeing what all the really talented and creative people out there are going to come up with for SWTOR Machinima. Let's give the WoW Machinima community a run for their money, man.
What is machinima? I've always seen it, I've always heard it, but I never understood where the term machinima, because it sounds like a really bad Japanese sword, came from.
It's taken from using a machine in order to create something. So basically taking game footage and the
Machine cinema.
Machine cinema. So that's
So why
what
don't
I'm
we just call it Avatar?
we don't have the budget. The BioWare Dev Ponage post of the week actually happened just as I was getting ready to put the show notes together. Georg Zoller posted in the question a very awkward picture that I'll post in here real quick. And have you guys seen it? I'm going to post this in the chat room there.
That made my day.
At least they could sit in the chair.
Yeah.
Between that and Mel's story today, I could not stop laughing while it was going through.
Oh my god, that is so horrible.
Let me bring that up.
Wow, that's epic.
Oh, I found in the
I would
what
like
was
a
it?
pony
In the starting-
and a rabbit. And
Oh, that's horrible.
I found a Pazak table in game.
Yeah,
I
well,
thought that was cool.
that's-
On one of the cantinas, I found a Pazak table. I was like, oh my god, KOTOR.
So that's the epic Dev Ponage post of the day. Kind of cool. Kind of scary. What are some things that you guys would like to talk about before we go? I got the dinner warning, and we want to be able to talk about our guilds. Remember, guys, guilds, get your stuff together by the second, or else you're going to have some folks that might be saying, why didn't I get in on the first day? Huh? What's up with this? So who would like to talk about their guild or their fan site or their blog or their puppy dog or... Well, don't go nuts.
don't hit
Dead air.
Who's going first?
Yeah.
R2-DB.
R2-DB.
We are a non-corporate owned database, item database, plus community fun website, not corporately owned and operated.
You said fun or fund?
Run. I don't know what I said. It was too long ago.
All right, R2-DB, great guys, and now working with Torhead as well, so it's going to be epic. We're going to have some great resources as a community to go to. Who else would like to talk about their guild or site?
Tour Syndicate, great site to find out about other sites and the community.
Yes.
TORcast, longest running fan site / podcast for the Old Republic.
With ponies.
Sith Vengeance, East Coast Guild, PvE server. Check us out, SithVengeance.com.
How are you guys doing, Johnny?
We're still small, so we're looking to grow to about 20. I don't think we're going to reach that before December 2nd, at least not without a miracle. So,
well, we'll help continue to let people know that you guys
spread the word.
Okay.
Let's see.
Keely?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what is that?
My Little Pony.
My Little Pony.
I was also going to say, Genesis, My Empire Guild, we're at 300 strong, casual guild. We are still allowing people to join. It's just you really need to flesh out your application. You can't just be one sentence.
Flesh it out? You really want it?
Yep, flesh it out.
Fleshed out. You know.
Yep.
Really like that. Anyway. Yeah. And Keely, go ahead. Did you want to say anything?
Yeah, Disciples of Chaos is our guild. It's run by my husband. We are Sith side, and we're kind of small. We have, I think, 16 members now. But we're an endgame focused guild. I can talk, I promise. But without the whole elitist thing going on. So we just basically want to make sure we have members who want to hit endgame and not just go stale towards the end.
Okay. And we are with Redeemed. We now have 105 registered people, which is totally amazing and awesome. We are a West Coast RP PvE guild. We are a PvE guild that happens to RP. We are casual, family-friendly, but 20 plus for our main members. Then we'll talk about other things. Check us out at guildredeemed.com. We are still accepting folks, but get it in by the 2nd. And we're about 85% to 90% made up of Google Plus users, which rocks.
Yeah, that's how you found me there.
Yep.
Oh, God, why are you playing the bad ponies?
I don't. Bad pony, good pony. It's a pony. My guild is made up completely of people on MySpace. So
oh man, that must be like the most
glitter.
Guild ever.
Lots of glitter.
Lots of glitter. Awesome.
yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for everybody.
And music that starts up.
Thank you guys watching in the stream. Next week we'll have another one, and we will actually probably have more people jumping in at first because we won't be playing the beta. And my thing's saying, "Are you still there?" Of course I'm still there. I've been moving this whole time. So thank you everybody for coming out. We will see you next week, and remember, be great community members on Google Plus and anywhere you go for SWTOR, and keep letting folks know that you love this game.
That's very Jerry Springer of you.
Oh,
take care of yourself and each other. And I won't be here. I'll be in New York skiing.
Wait, yes. Never mind.
Oh, wait, no, I won't be. Never mind.
I still envy the word skiing with being here in the South.
I'm in Florida.
Yay, Florida.
We have real snow in California.
Where are you guys at?